Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review Zoombies 2. They're not just deadly, they're dead.
Directed by Glenn Miller, starring Erica Sturdefant, Jonathon Buckley, Jarrid Masse, Terra Strong, but not the voice actress, and Jarrid Masse. This movie's about a bunch of animal poachers that decide to break into an animal refuge. In order to capture the animals that they're going after, they concocted their own tranquilizer darts, which unfortunately turn the animals into crazy rabid creatures that attack humans. Before we get into things, we are going to spoil most of this. Much like many Asylum movies that we talk about, because why not? If you haven't seen it by now, you're gonna watch it regardless of what we say. What do we like? A big step up from Zoombies is the fact that they didn't use CG animals in all shots. Of course, there's really cheesy CG animals. But they spliced in a lot of stock footage.
They really did have a cool location, because they're almost out in like Africa. That's what I'm assuming, judging by the landscape.
He's trolling because he knows that a lot of the stock footage was obviously just like animals in Africa. But then you cut back to they keep calling her a refuge, but then it's like, I wish they called it a zoo, at least at one point in the movie.
But it was a very cool location because like most of the film takes place in the vet clinic, but when they're outside, like they have an awesome landscape that they can play with. I wish it was utilized more because it looked great. You know what? They had good kills. I'm giving them it because I wasn't expecting anything that was going to be great. And maybe my standards were just really low, but the guy getting pegged on the rhino horn.
Okay, let's not call it pegged.
Oh.
Pegged means getting fucked by a girl with a strap on.
Happy International Women's Day.
So we got the guy who's on the rhino horn.
Pegged.
That looked really good. We had a guy getting stomped, which just got like splattered everywhere. But the one that takes the cake is the face rip.
Oh, the face rip is so good. This little porcupine is just gnawing her face off. Oh, it's good stuff.
Like the porcupines had like a really dominant role in this film. They were shooting spikes.
Called quills.
Oh, quills.
That's for the trivia. Although, I think it taught me some trivia. Apparently, they don't shoot spikes.
I didn't know they could do that.
They can't.
When Logan like turned around and had him like all stuck in him, it looked good.
A nice addition to this is they tried to work in practical effects with CG. When there is a porcupine moving around, they'll do like a close-up camera of some like, just somebody holding some needles. It doesn't look great, but it is a step up. Though the cinematography in general looked great. We had nice drone shots, we had good tracking shots. Asylum has really stepped up their just production game. As much flack as they get for the acting.
You shoot up an animal with toxic chemical and all you can think to say is that you made a mistake?
The terrible stories and the really overdone CG stuff, the camera work and the overall quality of like what they have going on is just pretty good. That Sharknado money is really going around. Now, what didn't we like? Much like nearly every single Asylum movie, the writing is god-awful. This one was just really, really cringeworthy.
Why don't you believe me?
Oh, I believe you. I believe you're baked out of your mind.
They don't know how to like properly develop a character. Just like flip-flopping back and forth on who you're supposed to like, who you're not supposed to like. They'll throw in a plot twist or they'll throw something in there and it's supposed to be like this like groundbreaking turn in the film, but it's beyond evident. Between like
the pregnancy? Is this what you're referring to? The moment she's just like holds her stomach, we know you're pregnant in the first 5 seconds of the movie.
You okay?
Yeah. It's the stress, I guess.
But the dumbest part was the fact that when this whole movie she's like actually doing stuff.
You're a bad mama.
But when they try and barricade the door and she's got to move the smallest desk, whoa.
It's fine. No, this is too heavy. You could hurt your baby.
Baby.
That thing was on wheels too. Like, anyone can push that.
There's another big plot hole that really, I don't even want to call it plot hole. It's just actually makes me mad. You build up Rosie, the hippopotamus. Here's a trope in movies that you're supposed to expect to happen. The hippo who is like their baby is supposed to come back and save them. It doesn't happen. We had a hippo interaction and it was hilarious, but we don't know if that was the hippo or a random hippo.
It was about 10 to 20 times the size by the time it ate people. However, the moment it was put into the water, it was already 4 times the size maybe. Put him in there for half an hour. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, it's a hungry hippo.
My next issue actually kind of ties into the hippo thing. It's the story between the poachers and the rangers. It's like the good guys were completely okay with just forgetting that they were total bad guys and just being like, hey, you're my friend now. Let's make jokes. It happened with the women. It was just like, hey, can I like come out now? It's like, yeah, sure. You can get your bag. Sends her right to the gun closet. There's literally like 3 to 4 shotguns sitting there.
I'm not completely evil.
And then there's CM Punk and Asylum budget Kevin Hart.
If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't even be in this mess in the first place.
KD literally punched that guy in the face 20 seconds ago, and now they're in canoes and they're having a blast, making jokes and cracking up with each other. And it's all to just like set up stories as to who's gonna die next, because it's like, well, we're friends now, so I'm gonna sacrifice myself for you guys. It's like, you're an underground animal dealer. You met a couple vets that were nice to you, and now you're like, you know what? You're worth dying over.
If I'm gonna kill myself, I wanna at least look at what I'm gonna do it with.
I know that people will like this, and I wasn't necessarily a hater on it, but I thought it was really strange that this became a prequel out of nowhere.
They're gonna love their new home here at Eden Wildlife Zoo.
Sure, people would call that a twist, but it really isn't a twist because it didn't reference anything in the movie. Because I remember having some conversations like this on Twitter with a bunch of dickheads that didn't really understand. At the end of Split, showing Bruce Willis to set up for Glass, that's not a twist. It had no relevance to the rest of the film. And that is the same thing here with Zoombies 2.
Monty, how far away are you in those monkeys?
So in the first movie, it was the monkeys that caused the outbreak.
Yeah.
So this is irrelevant. Every single creature coming here does not create the zombies in the first one.
Right, because there's no monkeys in this movie. If anything, they should have said, yes, send the meerkats. Again, there are some breaks you have to give to Asylum. And that's something that shouldn't need to be said. Like, what other company is there? Maybe Full Moon. You're like, oh, it's a Full Moon movie. Trauma, okay.
So,
but those ones are way out in this other field, dude.
Yeah, the saying like, oh, it's a trauma movie, that is like a positive thing.
It's like, you know what you signed up for here, so like, just give it a break in certain aspects. But like, why does it deserve breaks? I guess we haven't been light on it, so never mind. We're not giving it a break.
What do you want to do? We gotta get the hell out of here, man.
Surprisingly enough, we really haven't talked about the acting. It's not the best. There are definitely standout performances that really don't know how to deliver lines.
Like that guy in the circle of hoodlums.
Hey, what are those things? I don't really know, but they're getting around us real fast.
Even the camera girl.
Hey, what if I have to use the potty?
Use this.
And that one guy holding back Toronto when they like just arrested him.
Come on, buddy, we're leaving.
And I'd like to point out for no reason at all. So there's only one woman who works at this vet, and that's Brooke, our main lead. They go into the women's washroom at one point, and there's just like disgusting amount of shit in one of the toilets. And if she's the only woman, that's Brooke's shit.
It's the stress, I guess.
She just fucking shit wherever she wanted and just left it there, didn't even try flushing.
She has like 4 or 5 stalls too. She doesn't need to. She could just literally
use a stall every day of the week and wait for the maid to clean the rest up. I get it.
The maid?
There's gotta be a maid.
Maids clean houses. Custodians and janitors clean workplaces.
Same thing.
You just picture a little feather duster coming through.
Okay. Just the idea of a French maid is not what's happening.
It's like the half-baked thing.
I myself am a master of the custodial arts. Or a janitor if you want to be a dick about it.
Okay, sorry. I didn't realize. All right, it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. Zoombies 2 was a little bit better than I expected. The first one was a wild time. This one, well, it was pretty wild. And it was very fast paced and the production value was solid. It still had a lot of terrible situations. I didn't like our characters. The acting was just not so hot. But I think that comes down mainly to the writing, because the writing was just so bad. It's weird when you have like reasonable cinematography and everything and then just like the worst lines being delivered. You just feel uneasy about the whole situation. But there's just a lot of terrible things about this movie. There's no other way to put it. Yes, of course I'll watch a Zoombies 3, but would I recommend this? Maybe. Fun to riff, not well done. So I'm gonna give this 1.5, just playing with my joystick, out of 5.
Zoombies 2. It didn't take place in a zoo, so I was a little disappointed in that, but they had a really cool location, so that kind of made me happy. There's just a weird mixed feeling about this movie because it has some really good kills, but the terrible stock CG animals is horrendous. It's hard to like give the film credit and bash it at the same time because there's just a weird level when it comes to Asylum movies. And with this one, it's no different. It's fun and it's good to watch and it's also really, really bad, but you're gonna strangely enjoy it. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this film 1.5 simple cures out of 5.
We can only cure the animals the same way that they were infected, through a bite.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, links are in the description. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything Bloodbath and beyond.